Live back in action, attacking your speakers from the field to the bleachers. This is the Power 32 podcast with my dog, my main man. This is Primetime 313, David Dale in the house. I am the sports prophet, ready for another hour of power. We got a lot of great stuff today, man. I know there's not a lot of headlines going on in the NFL, but we got you taken care of. We got some really good stuff today, Prom. I can't wait to get into it, man. How you been, brother?
I've been all right, man. Been all right up here in the adjusting to this 40 degree, 70 degree, 40 degree, 70 degree weather. You know, hopefully it'll kind of plateau out pretty soon. What's the weather like down there in the Sunshine State?
Yo, it's been great. Like, you know, we're into like April now, and usually it starts getting a little humid and everything, but the days have been just gorgeous. High 70s, low 80s, just perfect weather, man. I can't complain at freaking all. Move down here, dummy. Get over here. Move the family, get down here, you'll find work, no problem. You know, you got a great resume. I can vouch for you. I know people around here, you know, like these really high priced, you know, individuals and, you know, guys that are, you know, billionaires and Fortune 500 companies. I can vouch you, man. I'll take care of you, bro.
All right, man. All right. Well, I'll run it by the wife.
There you go. That's all you can do. She's the boss. We all know that.
Absolutely.
Guys, yes, Power 32, we are here, we're ready to go. Tell your friends about us. You know what I'm going to say. You ain't got friends, don't make friends. Do what you got to do. Kiss their butt. Make sure they listen to Power 32. You will bond over that. You'll have a great time. Let us get into it without any further ado. We don't waste time in the show, man. We are ready to go, man. We got a little pleasantries in the beginning, but we want to talk football, bro.
Absolutely, man. We got like you said, not a lot of headlines going on, but there's a couple little tidbits, and then you know, we got the usual stuff on the show. We got trivia, we got big deal or no deal, and later on in the show, the prophet looks into his crystal balls. We got 5 more NFL franchises that we're going to take a look and see what the prophet sees for the next couple of years for the 5 franchises that we lay out. So want to make sure you stick around for that too.
Yeah, looking forward to that, no doubt. Yeah, we're going to go back in all the way back to the 2016 draft, going first round, running backs this time. We did quarterbacks in the first week, and 14 out of 33 quarterbacks hit in the first round since 2016, and wide receivers even worse. 15 out of 41.
It's crazy.
I mean,
stats don't lie, man, and it just goes to show what we always say on this show. You know, there's a lot of guys out there on websites and networks that make it seem like this thing is an exact science, but when the guys in the front offices who do this for an actual living are hitting less than 40-50% on a lot of these picks,
way less.
It's not an exact science at all.
No doubt. And we've proven that so far, but will the running back position turn the tables a little bit? We'll find out. But before anything, you know what we got to do. NFL trivia time. Are you ready, my friend?
I am. I hit the last 2. I'm on a roll. Baby.
Man. Let's keep it going. All right. I got faith in you over here. All right. Here's the question. Which running back drafted by my San Francisco 49ers has played the most games at the position in NFL history?
You mean in 49er history or
no? I mean in all-time history, the most games played by a running back.
Oh hell, that's got to be. It can only be one guy. Are his initials FG?
There you go, man.
It's Mr. Frank Gore, Mr. 75 years. That guy played forever. Frank Gore.
Yes,
Miami Hurricanes.
You know, I don't like that whole like compiler, you know, thing that they got. Like, you know, okay, Emmitt Smith played for forever, so of course he broke the rushing record behind that line. Frank Gore, you know, he's third on the rushing list, but people like to call him compiler. You can't be a compiler really in the NFL. I mean, if you were that consistent for that long, you were that great of a running back. And Frank Gore was that guy, no doubt about it. Little tidbit to go along with it. He was drafted in 2005. Played the most games at the position in NFL history, surpassing Emmitt Smith, whose previous record was 226. And Frank Gore finished with 241 games. So you are correct, my friend. Well done.
And two, You know, stats, especially in the NFL, for everybody says the lifespan of a running back is only 3 years. For Frank Gore to play as long as he did, let's give him
True.
props for that. And like you
Yes.
said, not let alone being as consistent as he was. I don't care how long. They do the same thing with Brady. Oh, he played for 20 years. They do the same thing with LeBron. He's played for 22. It doesn't matter if you're in shape and you can physically get out of bed and do your job every day for that length of time. It shouldn't be held against you. Now, Frank Gore's not, when we think of running backs, we don't think, the most explosive running backs in the league. Frank Gore's probably not on that list. But when you talk about consistency, and I know a lot of people hate that word, but Frank Gore's right there, and stats
right. No doubt. No doubt. So well done. Trivia question 3 in a row, man. Excellent job, man.
I was like 0 for my last 5 or 6 before this last little streak here, man. So I'm getting
tables have turned. Maybe you should, do a little gambling online or something like that.
Right. Excuse me. Right.
Well, some news that you didn't like, even though you like getting that question right. Your boy Dexter Lawrence, who's only 28 years old, wants to be traded from the New York Giants after failing to reach a contract agreement over the past 2 years or so. He's due $20 million this season. That's not bad, but apparently not enough. He believes he's outperformed his contract. Do you trade this talented player if you can get fair compensation? And what kind of compensation is that? Now, the Giants have done other moves before you get into it, bringing in Darnell Mooney, Isaiah Likely, Tremaine Edmonds, Greg Newsome. They they brought in Jason Pinnock as well.
Mm-hmm.
They have other players that are really good, like around that line, whether it's, Darius Alexander, if you like him, Brian Burns, Tremaine Edmonds they picked up, Mekhi McFadden, Kayvon Thibodeau. So they got a lot of, Amir Abdullah. They got a lot of really good players. So, you got to think that the Giants are in good shape defensively right now, but they're losing a guy like Dexter Lawrence, where he's in the prime of his career right now, could be a problem for the New York Giants. So do you try to do everything you can to get him a contract and keep him in-house? Or is it like, you know what? I don't want to pay him that much money. We got a good defense. We can maybe draft a guy that could take his place. What are your thoughts?
Well, the first part of your question is, do you keep him? So he's 28 years old. He's guaranteed $20 million this year.
Mm-hmm.
He is paid less than I think he's like the 15th highest.
I think 11th. I heard.
Yeah,
I think he was
11th, 15th, something. As far as defensive tackles in the league. The problem with him asking for more money right now is that he's coming off a year where he only had 31 tackles, had half a sack, and he's not the explosive Dexter Lawrence. I know he had some nagging injuries going on over the course of the season.
Right.
But the problem, and that's, you're asking for more money. So he's looking for like 30 million. He wants to be like top 5, top 8 in the league as far as highest paid defensive tackles.
As far as a D lineman, man, I mean, that's an awful lot of money to be disrespectful to a D lineman.
It is, especially when you also, not only is the timing bad because you're coming off of a subpar season that you're asking for this money, but you're also asking for this money in an upcoming draft where it's very deep from a defensive lineman standpoint. So I don't think the Giants will trade him. I think they haven't actually granted him the formal, allowance to request a trade. There is some murmuring he's already not going to participate in the summer drills, off-season drills, which is fine. A guy like him, though, I think he, depending on how hard he works on his own, he needs to make sure he stays in shape because he is a big dude. But as far as compensation, what you could possibly get for him, probably a late first-round pick, maybe, a second-round pick. I think he's got his age working for him, so you figure he's 28, sign another 4-year deal, take him to 32, 33 years old. And depending on how he performs, that could potentially be his last big contract. So from a Dexter Lawrence standpoint, you're looking like, look, I'm already 28, closing in on 30. This may be my last legitimate chance to get the big contract. And as you mentioned earlier, they've been going back and forth with him for the last couple of years. So if he doesn't play this year, which I think he will, I think they'll get something done, even if it's just a 1 year kind of prove it deal, and then maybe work on something next season. If he plays well this year, they'll pay him. If he doesn't, then I do believe they'll let him walk. I still think, to your point, they're going to draft another D lineman or two just to protect themselves in case they actually can't get something worked out. But overall, I think he'll play. I think he'll probably get another $5-6 million pay bump. And the last thing you want if you're John Harbaugh is to come into a new situation where probably, arguably, your best defensive player is unhappy. So if he's got a friend in the room, if John Harbaugh is that advocate for him in the room, then, we'll see a happy Dex by the end of the summer.
All right, no doubt. Yeah, again, the Giants, tough defense, man. You got last year Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, we mentioned. Tremaine Edmonds comes over. You got a lot of good players over there. They could, use a little help in the back end, but they did draft Greg Newsome. They brought him in. So, the Giants are trying, man, and they're under a new regime. They got John Harbaugh in there. You want everything to go well. So, we will see what happens. One little quick tidbit before we get into the running backs taken in the first round over the past 10 years. So going back to 2016, we're going to say if they're going to be a hit or a miss. But real quick, going to you, Prime, you had brought to my attention, actually, that Kyle Pitts, who's only 25 years old, is on a 1-year franchise tender worth $15 million. So his kind of breakout season last year really didn't earn him that contract. Maybe they're seeing if they're ready, if he could do it again.
Yeah, and the same thing, this holds true for Kevin Stefanski, brand new coach. Well, not brand new, but new to Atlanta. Coming in, you got a really nice set of weapons with him and Bijan and Drake London. You are in a position, if you're Kyle Pitts, you came off, you had 88 catches, 928 yards, and 5 touchdowns. I think statistically, the only better tight end than you in the league last year was Trey McBride from Arizona. So Atlanta, who's been known to kind of do weird things when it comes to the salary cap, $15 million. I think he's looking for, somewhere, he's another guy who wants to be top 5, top 6, 7 in the league as far as tight ends. Last season, if last season is any indication on him finally, hitting that upward trajectory, I don't think Atlanta will have a problem with paying him. But the problem is that you're going to sooner or later have to pay sooner or later going to have to pay Drake London, and then you still got a little bit of change that you got left with Kirk Cousins. So all in all, I think, again, I feel confident that Atlanta will give him what he wants. It's just a matter of when, and he's another guy that's probably going to have to prove it this year, that you can't get lightning in a bottle twice. It's not going to be like JSN where you have one great season. Next thing you know, you're making, $180 million, $160 million contract. So, but I'm confident Kyle Pitts he'll remain in the Atlanta Falcon because I think Stefanski will be advocating for him to get paid because Stefanski knows A, he's a good weapon, and B, Stefanski knows that that's a very winnable division. And if you get all your cards right, Kevin Stefanski could go 11-6 in his first season and win the division. So I feel strongly about them keeping Kyle Pitts.
That would be a big jump. That might earn him his 3rd Coach of the Year award, if you could believe that. Crazy. He won it twice with the Browns. If he could take Atlanta to 11-6 with Tua starting in the beginning of the year, then God bless you, man. All the way.
Right.
Oh, man. All right. Good stuff, Prime. Good stuff. Always chiming in with the goodies. All right. We are ready to keep the show rolling over here. The hour of power is among you, baby. And we, like I said, are going to look at draft history, running backs taken in the first round since 2016. So going back 10 years, we're going to say if they're a hit or a miss. Guys, we did quarterback, only 14 out of 33 hit. Not a good percentage.
No.
And only 15 out of 41 hit for running backs drafted in the first round. And that was by our metrics, however you want to do it. And even Prime will admit that we were a little generous with the quarterbacks over there. So It's a lot more misses than hits, no doubt. But will the running back position turn the tide on that one? I want to see what you think. Because
and by the way, and by the way, chat, feel free to jump in with your, your opinions and thoughts as well, because like I say, this is something, this is strictly our opinions. We were a little bit generous with a couple of quarterbacks. We mentioned that last week as well. But yeah, I like these hits and miss. Number one, kind of brings back a little bit of memories, a little bit of nostalgia here and there. But I like the hit or miss. I like the hit or miss segment because it kind of, puts things in perspective when it comes to people bitching and complaining how bad their GMs do. Well, your GM's not the only one, according to us. So a lot more missed and a lot more hit.
Exactly. It's not an exact science, folks. It's really hard, no doubt about it. So, all right, let's get it going. Let's go back to 2016. We're going back 10 years. And the first running back taken in that draft, 4th overall by the Dallas Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott, who did lead the league in rushing twice, I believe, in his first 4 years.
Yeah, I think Zeke's a hit. As much as it pains Giants fan to admit that, he terrorized us during his time in Dallas. And yeah, I would put him as a definite hit.
Yeah, I think that they won games in part because of him in certain games, him running out the clock or whatever it may be toward the end of the game and being that bulldozer kind of guy, but he can also be shifty. I do agree. I mean, Dallas did not win anything with Ezekiel Elliott, but I do believe that he did really well, and he kind of fell off, toward the end in like year 6 it was, I believe it was, but yeah, Zeke Elliott, after going to the Patriots, coming back to Dallas, he had his time out of the league, but at the time, he was a hit for that short period of time. I'll agree with you. He's the only first rounder, but I got a tidbit for you. Derrick Henry went in the 2nd round.
Isn't that crazy?
He should have been a first rounder in this draft. I mean, not many other good ones that I'm looking at as far as running backs that were drafted in this particular draft, but Kenyon Drake, he was drafted in this one. But yeah, Derrick Henry, 2nd round pick, 14th overall, 45 overall pick. By the Tennessee Titans. So, big
former Oregon Duck, Kenyon Drake.
There you go. Can't keep you away from that, huh?
Can't get away from it.
I keep you away from that. I love it. All right, so there you go. That's 2016. 2017, we had 2 running backs go early in the draft in the top 10. The first one was Leonard Fournette, who went 4th overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We know that he went over to Tampa Bay a little bit later in his career, won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady and the boys over there, played an integral role in all of it. And he even had the moniker, whatever you want to call it, Playoff Lenny, who played real big in those moments. So is he a hit or a miss in your eyes? This is a little bit tougher.
A hit from mind blowing with the stats, probably not. But kind of what we were talking a little bit about Frank Gore, consistency. Consistency, a guy that did perform well in the playoffs. I would call him a hit. I mean, I can't in good conscience call Leonard Fournette a miss because we've seen some guys that are just downright misses that have been, nowhere close to what he's done. So yeah, I'll take Leonard Fournette as a hit.
And he was really good in his career in Jacksonville, especially in the early years. He kind of fell off a little bit, had some problems, but yeah, moved on, won a Super Bowl, became a vital role in a couple of those runs that Tampa Bay made. So I like that right there. I'll agree with you. Yeah, that's a hit. I think that's a little bit closer than like a Zeke Elliott, but I'll give you a hit on that one. And in the same draft, 2017, the 8th overall pick by the Carolina Panthers, Christian McCaffrey.
Well, this one's kind of up for debate. No, when you talk, you talk anytime you're in the league and you go by one name or you go by your initial CMC and everybody knows who you're talking about, Christian McCaffrey. And let's just say it. Let's just put it out there. White guy coming in the league, doing what he does. And you don't see that often from the running back position. That was one of the things a lot of people were kind of joking about his color. But at the end of the day, CMC is probably, since he's been drafted, you could argue, you probably would lose, especially with a 49er fan like you, that he has been the single most productive running back in the NFL since he's been drafted. I love CMC, love him. And he is definitely a hit.
He has been extremely productive, even in Carolina. I know they
Yep.
weren't going anywhere, but the numbers he put up were astronomical. Then he comes over to the 49ers. They go to the Super Bowl. I mean, Christian McCaffrey is unbelievable. Hall of Fame, no doubt about it. So, yeah, look, we're already 3-0 hits to misses.
I'd like to see him get a ring. If there's one, sometimes people ask the question, who would you like to see get a ring? I would love to see CMC get a ring, whether it's 49ers or with, maybe the Giants. Somebody else, somebody, who knows. But yeah,
he's one of those top guys you want to see get a ring, like McCaffrey or Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, maybe Joe Burrow, depending on your fan.
Jared Goff.
Jared, Jared Goff, of course.
Jackson Dart.
I love it. Give him some time, Dart. Give him some time.
Right,
Good things on the horizon. All right, 2018. The second overall pick, and you're very familiar with this one, my friend. Your New York Giants, Saquon Barkley.
There's not very many moments during a draft, especially, where I actually stand up and applaud. And when I saw him at Penn State, I was like, the Lions were probably not bad enough to get him. I was hoping and praying and hoping that the Giants picked him, and they actually did. And the problem is that they used him so much. He had a couple of injury-riddled seasons, and I'm not hating on what he's done with Cincinnati, but in my heart, or Philadelphia, I'm sorry, but in my heart, he'll always be a Giant. Got his jersey in the closet. He is definite a hit. He is a 2,000-yard running back. He is a Super Bowl champion, and even though he's a Big Ten rival of Michigan, love me some Saquon Barkley.
Yep, Saquon Barkley definitely a hit. We are 4-0 on hits since 2016. Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, now Saquon Barkley, 4-0. I think we're going to get our first miss over here. The 27th pick in the 2018 draft was Rashard Penny.
Yeah, I think that's actually he came out with such promise. He was one of those guys. Everybody's in another draft he'd be a top 10 pick. And
by Seattle.
It's a definite miss. I think there's some guys that miss just because the game is probably faster than what they thought. But then there's some guys that miss just because their game didn't translate well. He wasn't that fast. He wasn't the biggest guy in the world. But I would definitely consider that a miss.
Yeah, I consider that a miss. All right, that's our first one. Let's see if we're up for our second one. The 31st pick in that same draft, 2018, Sony Michel to the New England Patriots. Yeah, exactly. I think it's it all right there.
Yeah, that's. And it's the one. I love Sony. I have Sony PlayStation. I have some Sony electronics.
Yeah, that's as far as you go.
But that's as far as this guy did not perform like the PlayStations or other electronics. So Sony Michel, definitely a miss.
Now, not a terrible player. No. Not terrible, but not first round worthy. So take it for what it's worth. Okay, 2019 draft, only one running back was selected, 24th overall by the Raiders, Josh Jacobs.
Well, we're back to the hit column, and I think a lot of people don't realize that he's going into his 7th year in the league. He's been around, and he's been very, very productive.
8th year, I think. Even.
Is it? Yeah. So he's been very, very productive, quietly productive. And he's another one of those guys that you look at, it's like, you don't think of him, as like a stat guy, but then you look up, it's like, man, this guy's got 1,000 yards. This guy's always in the end zone. This guy, he's very consistent. I like Josh Jacobs. I know you're a Josh Jacobs fan.
I am.
Yeah, I consider Double J a hit.
Yeah, they fed him a lot in Las Vegas, Oakland, wherever the fuck they were playing. They fed him a lot in Green Bay, and the guy stayed relatively healthy and put up good numbers. So I would say he's a hit. That's 2019. We go to 2020, where only one running back was drafted again, and that was the last pick by the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending champions. They ended up picking up a guy who I honestly thought was going to be a pretty good player in the NFL. Nothing incredible, nothing amazing, but I thought that he would be serviceable, especially on that team, find a role for him, and that was Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, and Edwards-Helaire had going for him was that he had came off of he was a part of that awesome LSU offense that we talked about last week with Justin and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. So I think that was more of a reputation thing. He was coached very well. And again, we talked about it before, how some guys are drafted either high or just drafted, period. Not necessarily because they're the most talented guys in the world, but they were well coached in college. And I'm with you. I thought he'd be a little bit better than what he was, but I don't know. Would you go so far as to call him a bust or just a mess?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a bust. Yeah, he didn't even get the starting job in KC. He got demoted. They gave him a chance. It didn't work out. Yeah, again, not that KC has the greatest offensive line in the world, but no, I would call him a bust, man. I really would. I don't, I know 32nd overall. It wasn't, second or fourth or seventh or whatever it is, but you're wasting a first-round draft pick on a guy who did not help your organization at all. Right. So I'm going to call him a bust. Yeah, I'll call him a bust. All right, we're 5 hits to 3 misses. Let's keep it going. This next one is tricky. I know which way I lean, but I'm going to give it to you without giving anything away. In 2021, the first running back drafted was 24th overall by the Pittsburgh Steelers, Najee Harris.
Well, it's funny because you and I, even before I became a permanent fixture on the show, had the debate because I said, well, he's had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Not very productive from a touchdown standpoint, but he was the only thing that Pittsburgh really had that was consistent. And I would probably say early in his career, he was a hit. And to me, when you're a 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, I got to call you a hit. And I think that's why you kind of threw that at me like that, because you and I have talked about Najee Harris before. And I think we kind of go different ways how we feel about him. But, that's consistent right there. And I think he hasn't done much the last couple seasons, but I would still say that he was a hit, at least for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right. You talk about him going over 1,000 yards. In his first year, he went for 1,200. In 2022, his second year, he went for just over 1,000, 1,034. The next year, 1,035. The next year, 1,043. And then he went to the Chargers, got banged up, so you wipe that away. Those are eye-popping numbers to me, man. I didn't know that Pittsburgh isn't the model of offense. I totally understand that, but I would have to disagree with you, man. I think that is a bust right there. I mean, he did not put up big-time numbers. Like you said, did not get in the end zone, did not change the trajectory of the franchise. Najee Harris, serviceable, but there's a reason why we got rid of him.
Well, I agree, but you also got who was their court? Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph. I think it was Mason Rudolph was their. I mean, Pittsburgh, their offense.
They had Rodgers for a year.
But they
not Rodgers.
Not back then. I don't. But he was the only model of consistency on offense on that franchise. But I knew we would kind of go different ways on that one. I'm not gonna fight you on that.
You're leaning more toward hit or miss. If you're leaning toward hit, I'll give it to you.
Well, no, I'm leaning more towards hit. I am.
You are. Okay, let's go with
1,000 yards is 1,000 yards.
I disagree, but we'll go with the hit. All right. 60 yards rushing a game. Wow, blow my freaking socks
off.
Man.
Everybody can't be a Christian McCaffrey or a Saquon.
No, they cannot. You got that right. All right, one more first-round draft pick in 2021, and that would be the newly named, or formerly named and should be named, and let's get his name right, Travis Etienne of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the 25th overall pick in 2021. Do you think that he is a hit or a miss?
Well, this is kind of like the debate in reverse, because I think that's a tough one.
It is tough. Not easy. I'll give you some stats. In 2022, his rookie year, he went for 1,125. 2023, 1,008. In 2024, he was banged up, only 558 yards. And then last year, 1,107. Yeah, he does catch the ball out of the backfield, so that does help his status a little bit. But Is he a guy that had helped put Jacksonville over the hump a little bit? Did he outperform his 25th overall draft pick? I don't know. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to call him a miss because he's been a good player.
Yeah.
But to call him a hit at the same time, it's like, is he really a hit? Is he a top 10 running back in the league? I don't know.
Well, and this goes back to the Najee argument, because if you're saying Najee is a miss with 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and Travis Etienne had 3 of his 4 or 5 seasons with 1,000 yards. Take away the year he was injured. I'd call him a hit. I'd call it, because he's a vital part of that Jacksonville offense, and when he's rolling, they're rolling. You know, a running back is a quarterback's best friend. Plus, the man with the flowing hair, the best hair in the business, kind of advocated for them to draft him because they were teammates at Clemson. So I'd call Travis a hit.
All right, going Travis Etienne a hit. We're gonna leave it at that there.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
We're leaving it.
No, what do you think?
I don't like to call him a miss because he's a really good player and he's been on a couple of cruddy teams and, you know, sometimes asked to do a little bit too much without a great offensive line or other weapons around him. Mm-hmm. So I'd probably, if I had to, I'd lean more toward hit. I would. So I'm with you. All right, that's 2021. 2022. Believe it or not, no running back selected in the first round. So we're going to bypass that one right there and go to 2023, where we had a couple of bangers, man. No doubt about it. Bijan Robinson, 8th overall to Atlanta.
Yeah, definite hit. And he has the potential, when it's all said and done, if Atlanta does the right things around him, he has a potential to be maybe top 15 back of all time. He's just that good.
Tell him about it. Okay.
And he's former Texas Longhorn. And he catches the ball out of the backfield. People don't realize how big he is when you watch him play. He plays big, almost like a not so big Derrick Henry. He's fast. He's versatile. He's almost like a black Christian McCaffrey. I'll just say,
I don't think I've ever heard that.
No, all jokes aside, Bijan is really, really, really good. And he
sure is, man. He's dynamite. We talked about it. I was on Damian Adams' show a few months ago, and we talked about the most exciting players to watch, and I put Bijan Robinson right up there. He is fun to watch, man. No doubt about it. Worth the price of admission. All right, and in 2023, the 12th overall pick went to your Detroit Lions, who picked up Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, absolute hit. And despite what David Achane says of the Dolphins, dude, you're not faster than Jahmyr Gibbs. You're probably not as fast as Jalen Waddle, but I will give you credit for pumping the brakes when they asked you about J-Mo, and you said no, J-Mo would probably run you down or blow past you. Jahmyr Gibbs, one of the most exciting backs in the league, and the Lions. There was a lot of talk, a lot of negativity when they drafted him because they actually moved up to get him.
Right.
And that was something that, the Lions fans were like, hey, what the hell are you guys doing? But it's one of, Brad Holmes, good draft guy, not necessarily free agents, but he's a good draft guy. And he got that one right 100%.
Totally lived up to it. The guy is phenomenal. That's why they got rid of David Montgomery. Want to give Jahmyr Gibbs the ball even more. With him with the ball in his hands, lethal, bro. No question. All right. We go to 2024. We're again prime. No running back selected in the first round. So we got to go past 2024, which brings us to last year, which I'm not sure I'm going to count because it's too early, but Ashton Jeanty was taken 6th overall by the Raiders. And I think as the season went on, he started to show what he can do. So I think that Ashton Jeanty is going to be a hit. I think he's got a lot of upside. If they can get a few more pieces maybe on that offensive line, run a little bit more, if they can incorporate play action. But here's the thing why Ashton Jeanty may get held back. Like you see, Mike, what's his name? Excuse me, new head coach.
Kubiak.
Thank you,
Clint
Kubiak, for the Raiders. He likes to go under center. They drafting Fernando Mendoza, who never went under center. So they got a lot of work to do there. They're going to have to figure things out. And if they're going, in shotgun a lot, then that's going to hinder the running game, I think, in many ways. So it's going to be tough for Gentry really to get his numbers unless they get Fernando Mendoza comfortable getting under center. But I do think Gentry is going to turn out to be a pretty damn good running back.
Yeah, I agree. I think right now he's probably a to be determined. But yeah, we hyped him up, coming out of college. We all knew that, or we all thought that he would just come in and just be an instant game breaker. Unfortunately, he came to a bad Raiders team that didn't have very many bright spots. Had a lot of pieces that they didn't even know were going to be with their franchise as they move forward. They got a new coach. And by the way, Fernando Mendoza is not going to be at the NFL draft. So they will call his name number one overall, and he will not be there. That's I think that's the first time that's ever happened where number one overall pick's not going to be there. So
yeah, that's really odd.
But they got people working with him, But yeah, Gentry, I think eventually will be a good back. I think Kubiak, because he likes to run the ball, they'll make those adjustments. And I think Gentry will get, he'll be that 1,100 yard guy.
Yeah, even more. I think he'll get there as the offense starts to improve. We'll see if it does. Last one in 2025 last year in the first round, Omarion Hampton. He got banged up this year. He really wasn't able to show what he can do. He was taken 22nd overall by the LA Chargers. The jury is still out on him. I'm not ready to make a determination. They throw a lot of him, drafting him. I think it was 22nd or something like that overall last year, whatever the number was, 24th. But yeah, they're going to give him a chance, again, be the lead back, see what he can do. He's young, obviously, going through his sophomore year. So the jury is still out on him. I don't know what to make of him yet. I'm hoping that he doesn't have an injury-prone career.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. Because we also, just like Kubiak likes to run the ball, Jim Harbaugh, we know, loves to run the ball. I don't think they're ready to give up on him just yet. Injuries aside, he's kind of like the Ashton Gentry, not because of injuries, but, Ashton Gentry was just because, circumstances around the team. Hampton was injuries, but I think, another, second full workout, off-season, OTAs, all that stuff. I'm sure that they've been working with him in some way, shape, or form. Continues to have confidence in this guy. And I think that's what it's going to take. He needs to know that he's going to be the guy, or at least he's going to be given the opportunity to be a guy second season. So look for big things from him.
All right, no doubt. Let's see what happens. We will get there. All right, that is 2016 through 2025, hit or miss. And we left out Ashton Gentry and, of course, Omarion Hampton because the jury's still out on them. But for the first time, we got more hits than misses. We have 9 hits and 3 misses. So what that goes to show you is that Jeremiah Love is going to be fucking awesome. That's what's going to happen. That's what I'm talking about. Man. He is going to be awesome. I really believe that. I know Tennessee, not the greatest team in the entire world. They got some holes in the offensive line, but we see that running backs hit in the first round. Does it always translate to championships? No. But that's not always a running back's job. That's more on the quarterback, the coach, the interior, offensive line, defensive line. But a running back is one of those extra pieces. So while there hasn't been a lot of championships, obviously, except for Saquon or whatever, these guys have hit. So yeah, 9 hits to 3 misses, Brian.
Yeah. And, this also debunks the whole, for a while, for years, everybody, you don't draft a running back in the first round. You don't draft out of the ones we looked at, for the most part, these guys have been and continue to be pretty consistent. And I love the point that you just made about championships, because if that's the case, you already threw the quarterback stat out there as far as hit or miss. You know what I'm saying? So don't come to me, because if that's the case, then you shouldn't draft a quarterback in the first round. If you're basing it on just who's going to win you a championship right away, when quarterbacks, based on our metrics, quarterbacks have had a worse hit rate than running backs. So I know it's smaller sample size, but at the end of the day, it still behooves you. If you have a good running back, and Jeremiah Love is going to be a good running back. But just a side note real quick, I heard on some discussion today that could be a little bit of debate because your boy, Robert Saleh, who's now the new head coach of the Titans, loves him some defense. So there's a chance he could take Arvell Reese or Sonny Styles. But then again, do you want to satisfy your new offensive coordinator and Brian Daboll and give him, now you got your second-year quarterback, got your rookie running back, you have Wan'Dale Robinson. Yeah, there's the crickets. I paused for the crickets there.
Yeah.
$30 million a year. Come on. So, I mean, you get another wide receiver, and this is a deep draft for wide receivers. Could Tennessee potentially be onto something? I don't know. But if I'm them, I'm taking Jeremiah Love, and then I'm going to draft a couple of offensive linemen to kind of beef that up a little bit.
Right now, in my mock draft, he is deadlocked to the Tennessee Titans. They need playmakers on offense. Wan'Dale Robinson, God bless him, he's not going to be, the make or break it guy.
He's your problem now, Tennessee.
Yeah, but get that running back in there, man.
Real quick though, we did entertain the thought last week or was a week before, that the Giants could potentially sneak in there and take Jeremiah Love. I would not be mad at all because the combination of Cam Scatterbo and Tyrone Tracy, though they may be good and household names because we're Giants fans, do you really see those two being like a Gibbs and Montgomery where they're just like game breakers and game wreckers and you actually have to game? Are you a defensive coordinator saying, damn, I gotta go in and game plan for Tyrone Tracy and Cam Scatterbo?
I know. I think that we've seen enough at both of those guys, and especially Tracy toward the end of the year. He played really, really well. So instead of taking a draft pick, at number 4, they have problems on their offensive line. Maybe you want to address the secondary. Maybe you want to get another wide receiver. I think there are more glaring needs than going to get another running back when they are getting productivity out of that position.
I agree. I just wanted to put that out there because I would love to see him in a Giants uniform.
Yeah, I'm sure you would, man. And it's possible. It may happen. Tennessee, like you said, Vrabel, excuse me. Robert Saleh loves his defense, so it's very possible it could happen. No question. All right, no doubt. Let's do it. Big deal, no deal time. What do you say?
Well, big deal or no deal. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Big deal or no deal. Brought to you by the Power 32 podcast. This is the segment of the show where I present several scenarios to the prophet, and he tells you and I whether it is a big deal or no deal. You ready to rock, big fella?
I'm ready, man. I have no idea what you're going to throw at me as usual, but I love it that way. I want the genuine reaction. Let's see what happens. What do you got for me this week?
The last one is all in fun, but it's a huge hypothetical, but anything can happen these days. So I'll save that one for last. But first,
look at you with the tease, man. I love it.
Yeah, I'm learning. So let's see. I was thinking about this yesterday as I was perusing with my day. Big deal or no deal if NFL players started to load manage like NBA players do? Would that be a big deal or no deal in your mind?
Yeah, that'd be a real big deal. I mean, I know it's a physical sport, but comparatively speaking, they only play 17 games as opposed to the NBA and NHL where they play 82. Baseball, 162. So NFL players load manage. Do I mind if a player takes off a game if they're 2.5 games ahead with only 1 game to go? No, of course not. I'm all right with that. And players and coaches and teams do that toward the end of the year. You see it all the time. They want to get their players healthy and ready for the playoffs. So load management in that respect, I'm cool with. But if they were to go ahead and do it like, Kyle Hamilton, you're going to sit out week 3. We want to make sure that you're good for, week 4, 5 and down the season and everything. No, that doesn't make any sense, man. I don't agree with that at all. I think that'd be a really big deal. And I don't see that happening because these players, again, they get a limited amount of time to play. They get only guaranteed 17 games. They want to play in each and every one of them. And not only that, collect their game check as well.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. As we say, what up, though? How you doing? To one of the loyalists of the show, Mr. McNine. How you doing, buddy? Great to have you on the show.
And if he's saying NFL should stick to 17 games, all the talk about 18 games got to go. I agree. Yeah. The only way, and we've talked about this, Prime, is if they're going to do 18 games, do 2 bye weeks, and maybe expand the roster a little bit, add another 4 to 6 players or whatever it is. But yeah, give 2 bye weeks. And what that does for the NFL in turn, gives them more money because the season is now prolonged. You're probably having the Super Bowl toward the end of February. So you're making the season longer, you're getting more revenue, more profit, and things like that. That would probably be the smart way to go.
Yeah, and I agree. And to just kind of piggyback off that real quick, the Players Union would probably vote for it because, A, if they would have to expand the rosters, that means 4 to 6 guys, if you're using your numbers, would get jobs.
Yeah.
So, and it's always, they want as many guys in the loop as possible. And number 2, I think it would happen because 2 of those games, remember we mentioned this probably 3-4 weeks ago, the NFL is trying to get it to where every single team has at least one overseas game a season.
Right.
And so, and the owners were already getting pissed off because that counts as a home game for like Jacksonville or who, a lot of these teams that go over there counts as a home game for some of these teams and they don't like it. So they would add that as kind of like a pacifier, but they would definitely second bye week, expand the roster. It could happen. I don't want to see it because then it goes to your earlier point. Okay, now instead of one game being meaningless, week 17, if you're already winning, now you got 2 meaningless games. But it's going to happen, unfortunately, because that's just the way the NFL is.
It's all about money, man. You know it.
Yeah, so moving on to the next one. Let's see. There used to be a big saying that the NFL was a copycat league. And over the last few years, and I know there's some analytics that you particularly can't stand.
Oh, my God.
The fact that the NFL has become more of an analytics league than a copycat league, is that a big deal or no deal? And I'll cite 2 examples that irritate the hell out of you is going for 2 all the time and going for it on 4th down all the time.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Because, again, it's all about the analytics telling you percentage-wise, you have a better chance of getting 4th and 3 from your own 44-yard line than you do, punting the ball and pinning. It's a bunch of nonsense. Again, we've talked about it. I don't want to regurgitate it. It is the feel of the game, the flow of the game, the players that are in the game. You can't account for that with analytics. It only goes by mathematical equations. So the whole copycat thing really hasn't worked out for many teams. I mean, you see the tush push. Nobody else can really do it. Maybe the Bills a little bit. The Wildcat with Miami back in the day. Only a few teams were able to do that.
Points for that
things. So, yeah, right. Little gimmicky things like that. The copycat league only works when you're developing scheme more than anything, and trying to copy what the team did to Baltimore in week 2. Now you're playing them in week 7. You want to copycat what that defense did if they were able to hold them down. So in that sense, I like that. But again, the analytics, they can't account for all the flow of the game, the emotion of the game, the starters, who's playing well, who got hurt during the game. There are just so many different things that go into it that analytics simply cannot provide. It's impossible. I don't even think freaking AI could do it. You just can't do it. So again, that's why coaching is so important and knowing what to do and when to do it. But I feel like there is this undue pressure, and a lot of it comes from fans. Fans get teams going. They get coaches going. They get the adrenaline pumping, and they want them to go for it on 4th down every time, no matter where the fuck it is on the field. It could be on the negative
right.
1 yard line. It don't matter. They want that excitement, and that can, put pressure. Now, it won't do it to a guy like Andy Reid necessarily or John Harbaugh, but are the coaches who are trying to get favor of the fan? Yeah, it's going to happen.
Well, and if anybody would know about being copied, it would be you and your old coach, Mr. Bill Walsh, because the West Coast offense has been copied by every team in the world that plays football has some version of the West Coast offense. So, but yeah,
Absolutely.
To your point about copycat. So yeah, good stuff right there. Made a lot of good points. Now, this one, you and I have kind of debated back and forth, and we've had people in the chat kind of chime in on this, and McNiner, feel free to chime in on this one too. Would it be a big deal or no deal if Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson played their entire career without winning a Super Bowl?
Oh, huge deal. Oh, tremendous. No doubt. They both have to win, to be amongst the greatest of all time because they both have the skills, the numbers, the MVPs, all that
Hmm.
to do it. You got to win the Super Bowl, man. You have to. There's a reason why Dan Marino gets left out of these top
Yeah.
conversations as, best quarterback of all time. He's got no chips, man. He went once in his second year. That was it. Lamar and Allen have not even been there yet.
That's
Now,
crazy.
thankfully for them, they're young, in their late 20s and everything, right in their prime and whatnot, so things can work out. But 100%, if they can't bring home a Super Bowl, either one of them, that's a major, I don't want to say tarnish on their legacy,
Hmm.
but definitely like an asterisk right there. Like, this quarterback was great, but he couldn't win the big one. And they are the two type of quarterbacks that can carry a team,
Hmm.
and they're not. Maybe Josh Allen has done a little bit more, taking his team further into the playoffs for the most part. Lamar has not been good in the playoffs. I don't know what
Hmm.
that's all about, but he has not played his best football, and that's going to have to change, man. Yeah, these guys need to win a Super Bowl if they want to put themselves in the top 10 quarterbacks of all time.
So absolutely, I agree 100%. And I'll ask you a little bonus side note to that. Does the fact that Sam Darnold has won a Super Bowl and Drake
Huh.
May has been to a Super Bowl, does that put more pressure on Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson in particular to
Has
at
to.
least get to a Super Bowl?
Yeah, it has to. Darnold, who, yeah, drafted high and everything like that. And who was the other guy that you mentioned? I'm
Josh
sorry.
Rosen. I said I asked the question if Sam Darnold does it put pressure on Lamar because Sam Darnold has won a Super Bowl and he has been to a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, I mean that it's got to put pressure on them, man. They got to look at that guy and say, "Wow, I'm better than him. How can he go ahead and win the Super Bowl?" Well, he was on a really good team, but you got to be jealous or something like that. No doubt about it, man. I mean, they know they're better quarterbacks than him, and they control the team. Why not? Why
That's
not? What does McNaughton have to say about Lamar Jackson over here? Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen hit the playoffs and fall off a cliff. They need the right coach. Well,
and
Joe Brady comes in, Jesse Minter comes in, two new head coaches for Buffalo and Baltimore, respectively. Let's see if they could turn it around. Lamar Jackson did something he hasn't done in, I think, 7 years. He reported to camp. He's ready to
yeah,
go. He wants to meet his coach. He's ready to play. That's a great sign for Ravens fans.
whoa. Okay. I don't know.
That,
Look at it. I
yeah,
don't know about
I think
that.
McNaughton went too far on this one, Brian. What do you think?
I think you just went off a cliff, McNider. That's a pretty. That's
Darnold's better than Dylan.
that's. Oh my
McNaughton says for the radio part of it, Sam Darnold is the modern equivalent of Trent Dilfer. He puts a laugh out loud at the end.
man.
So he kind of knows he's like half-heartedly joking.
Yeah,
But,
that's
Darnold, most wins over the last 2 years, Super Bowl champion, not the greatest in numbers in the entire world, but he got Jackson Smith and Jigba, the offensive player of the year. Pretty good, huh?
and a bag.
And a
He
bag. A
got him
big
a bag
one.
too. So
Yes, a giant bag.
all right, last one. We're gonna have some fun. This is a huge hypothetical.
Okay.
I was just playing around with some ideas in my head, and I was thinking, there's probably 3 or 4 current female assistant position coaches in the NFL. And one of them, Kate Sowers, played or coached under your boy Kyle Shanahan. She actually coached in your last Super Bowl.
Yep.
He was a former assistant coach. And then Jennifer King, who is the current assistant running backs coach in Washington. Would it be a big deal or no deal, A, for the players, B, for the fans, and C, just for society in general, if there was ever a first-time female NFL head coach?
Oh my God, that would be the news all year long, and even after that, before that, that would be tremendous. Dude, it is really hard for me to see that happening, and not to take anything away from women and their abilities. I'm sure there are women out there who actually can coach an NFL team. You see it more in basketball because women play basketball. Women
Right.
don't play contact football. So that's a big difference. And if you haven't played it, I mean, I know that guys like Sean McVay, I didn't play pro football. A lot of guys, Kyle Shanahan, we can go down the list, and they're really successful.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if you've never, really got immersed into that, and you weren't, like your family going back generations,
Right.
like the Shanahans or whatever, or the Ryans, or, whatever it may be, kind of hard. So I don't want to take anything away from women and their abilities. I don't want to say that. But the fact that women, don't play contact football. I mean, I'm sorry, women do play contact football, just not the NFL, and the rules are a little bit different. So I see that being really difficult. But if it were to happen, wow, man, that would be a freaking bomb, bro. That would be amazing. And I'm not saying in a bad way, in a great way. I would love to see it one day. It's just, I don't see it in the next 10, 15, maybe even 20 years.
Mm-hmm. It would almost have to be, and I didn't bring this up as a DEI topic where we're not bashing. I'm just simply asking the question of how big of a deal would it be? And I guess a side note to that, the players, because we've seen, like you say, Becky Hammon with the Spurs, there was a lot of people saying she was going to take over after Pop.
Yeah,
that
that's
was
true.
Almost a done deal. I forgot the lady's name that is like the second in command for the Seattle Kraken hockey team. And there are women that have prominent positions, semi-prominent positions in professional male sports. But to your point, it's a bit different when you're not totally immersed, and it's not even a gender thing. It's Sean McVay, like you say, he never played. I would question whether or not this guy did anything in his childhood other than watch film and say, I'm going to be an NFL coach one day.
Right.
To your point, it's a family thing. It's a generational thing. I would be more curious to see from a player standpoint. And as McNiner chimes in, says it would literally be the story of the year. They would probably need to change locker room ethics, which I agree with that 100%. But I would, it would be very interesting to see, Jane Doe over there putting her headset down, grabbing somebody by the face mask and saying, "Get your ass out there and do your job." That would be something to see. I just put it out there, like I say, total hypothetical.
It'd be harder for men to respond to women in that authoritative role. It just would. I'm sorry. I mean, that's the way that the world works, and I hate to say it, but that's the way it is.
And like you say, in basketball, we use basketball because basketball is more universal, and you could realistically see that happening in the next 10 years, like a Dawn Staley, or somebody like that.
Sure.
Pat Summitt would have made an awesome NBA head coach back in her day. Muffin McGraw, the old Notre Dame coach. There's some coaches out there that would do really well. I would think in the men's, a little more respect there, but physically, just from a physical standpoint, I agree with you. I don't think the guys would take them seriously at the end of the day.
Yeah, it'd be kind of.
Don't get mad at us. Just be glad we asked the question. We're just having some fun.
We're just talking real, man. That's all there is to it. We're just talking. We're talking. We're not saying we're right or wrong or the other way, but we're just talking, baby. All right. So, again, we have to push off the head coach's first year expectations because of the time, but we do have some other good stuff to get into, Prime.
Let's do it. We have the crystal ball segment of the show. This is the segment of the show where the prophet pulls out his crystal ball and we present more NFL franchises, and he is going to look 2 to 3 years into the future of these franchises, and he is going to tell us what he sees. The soothing sounds of the Power 32 podcast. So we are going to start off with the team that surprised a lot of people last year, and in my opinion has a very bright future, but I want to know what you think, and that would be the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, the Chicago Bears, man. I mean, you have to love what you saw last year. Young players, you think they're going to get better, really good head coach. Why not contending for Super Bowl titles? I mean, why not? Caleb Williams is getting better again. We mentioned the really good head coach that they got. They're surrounded by young talent. It's a storied franchise that can attract free agents to come over there, especially with what they got going on. They did last season. They brought in a whole bunch of players. Caleb Williams, man, he's only going to get better. He's proven he can play. And Ben Johnson is also smart enough to know that he has to keep building the defense. It's so important in a division with tough offenses like Minnesota, Detroit, Green Bay. They can all score. Yes, even Green Bay, they can all score points. So you're going to have to watch out.
Jordan Love catching strays.
You got right. Got to do it, man. Throw a little zinger here and there. But no, the Bears, their offense, they're going to be able to score points. They need to get more consistent, so they need to score more in the first, second quarter and not wait until the fourth quarter to come back all the time. And I think they'll be able to do that with more practice, another year under their belt. But the defense is the thing that I don't want to say you have to question so much because they have a good one, but you want to keep building on the defense to take some of the pressure off the offense. Decent running game. Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, DJ Moore is out, but the future is bright for the Bears.
All right. As we move on to our second prophecy of the evening, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Philadelphia. Wow, this is hard. I think at this point, with the way things are going, Nick Sirianni probably gone. You know, he's really not looked at Mr. X and O, you know, Mr. Motivator. It's almost like he's just like a puppet, you know, filling in over there, you know, being Mr. Nice Guy and getting along with the players. Right. So I think he's out of there. And Jalen Hurts, he might likely be on another team, man. I mean, there's a really good chance. There's a lot of friction in that locker room with some of the coaches. You know, I think that Philly is going to take a hit, man. I think they're going to be in rebuild mode as they start to lose some of the better players, A.J. Brown, guys on the offensive line. They're going to have to start paying their secondary guys, you know, the young kids that they brought in the draft a couple of years ago. And Saquon can't do this forever. So you see them losing a lot of players unless they're really hitting the draft. And the whole Jalen Hurts thing, big issue, man. I don't know if he's going to be there. And I think that he is vastly underrated. He is a really, really good quarterback, but he is underrated. I was looking at an NFC list today of the top 16 quarterbacks in that division, in that conference, and Jalen Hurts was 11th in the NFC.
That's insane.
Tell me how that makes sense.
That's insane.
Yeah. He's better than what he is, but again, a lot of friction. So I think Philly is headed downward, man. I see the avalanche coming.
So do you see Jalen Hurts this similar situation as to what happened with Russell Wilson as the years went on in Seattle? Because there seems to be the same types of rumblings for Jalen Hurts as there was for Russell Wilson his last year or two in Seattle.
Yeah, it could be that way, man. I mean, they have similar styles in a lot of ways. Hurts a better runner, of course, but now he's not even doing that. So that takes away from how great he actually is. He's a good pocket passer, no doubt. He's got a good deep ball, so he can make plays. But Jalen Hurts now, you know, as he gets a little bit older, he's still young, don't get me wrong. But, you know, as he gets a little bit older, again, less running, you know, how many weapons is he going to have? How much is he going to have to rely on? Jalen Hurts, man, Philadelphia may say, you know what, we're going to hit the reset button. We need another quarterback. Let's trade Jalen Hurts and see what we can get for him.
Yeah, I agree 100%. As your boy McNiner chimes in, he says Jalen Hurts versus A.J. Brown. Receiver wants the ball. And that goes back to Keyshawn Johnson's famous, give me the damn ball. But
and A.J. Brown is likely to be traded. They're going to have to wait till after June 1st because it's less of a dead money salary cap hit. Don't ask me how all that works, but A.J. Brown likely to be traded after the draft, after June 1st.
Wow. So you see a different division winner this year?
Probably,
Giants?
Giants? The Giants would be great. I'm rooting like hell for them, man. If that defense shows up and they play real hardball, make a good draft pick. I don't know if they're going to go offensive line. Maybe they go with a guy like Caleb Downs. We'll talk about that because in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be going draft crazy, mock drafts all over the place. Going to have a lot of fun with that.
So, all right, moving on to our third of our 5 teams. This is a team that surprised everybody last year by going to the Super Bowl. Mike Vrabel just did his Mike Vrabel thing, and I don't know if it's something in the crab cakes up there in New England, or what it was, but the New England Patriots, what do you see for them in the next 2-3 years?
They'll be a playoff team more often than not. They should almost be perennial, but you never know with that. A team could fall off a little bit, lose players, but they need more firepower on offense for sure. And again, that name A.J. Brown pops up again. He's been linked to the New England Patriots. He's got ties with Mike Vrabel going back to Tennessee, him and A.J. Brown. So it is possible that they get him. That would be huge. That would make their offense that much better. But Vrabel is such a good coach that he'll have his team fighting, man. His team is going to fight every Sunday, all through the season. And if Drake May is for real, and we have every reason to believe that he is, they have a promising future. If you have a quarterback and you have a coach, you have a good recipe for success, getting other guys around him on your O-line, your D-line, getting skilled players here and there, whatever you can do through the draft and through free agency. New England, they're not going to stop. They got to the Super Bowl last year. They believe they can get there again. They're going to try to get as many assets as they can.
So, asterisk side note to that is that we talked earlier about Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, who just so happen to be in that same division. Is that does that change your opinion at all of what you see in the future for the Patriots? The fact that they still have to contend in their own division with the Buffalo Bills. We're not worried about the Jets and the Dolphins absolutely whatsoever.
Not at all. No, I think that the fact that the Bills are in that division is definitely a challenge, no doubt about it. They ended up winning it last year, taking home that division, and I don't think they're scared of anybody. They got a solid, kind of like ice cold type quarterback. Yeah, they'll get more players around. They have a really good team, really good coaching, and we're not sure what we're going to get out of Joe Brady. Is it going to be a really good head coach? Will he be able to make those decisions? Will DJ Moore become their number one wide receiver and get 1,200 yards this year? There's a lot to go through it, but I see them both as teams that can get to the playoffs for the most part, year in and year out.
All right. As we move on to team number 4, and this is a team, again, kind of overachieved last year, won their division on the last week of the season.
With a losing record.
With a losing record. Had to put that in there. And this is one of our favorite little fellas in the whole league, Mr. Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. Isn't it amazing, though, that he's so little and he throws to Ted McMillan, who's so damn big? That's just the dichotomy of that is funny.
Gotta love
it. What do you see for the Panthers?
For the Panthers, they're just not going to attract free agents to the team, and they're going to stay mediocre. They'll be an okay team, 7, 8, 9 wins every year. Is that enough for Dave Canales to keep his job? Probably not. Eventually, they're going to have to move on. They won't be drafting players high enough to change the organization around unless they really hit on it, because I think that they could win the division or at least be around the 15, 16, 17 draft pick, but they'll likely be looking at another quarterback option. That's really possible because I think that they know that Bryce Young is not good enough to get them to where they need to be, and that's the Super Bowl or even deep into the playoffs. Bryce Young is not that guy, so I think they're going to be looking at another quarterback, other options over there, and unless they can concentrate on building up that defense, they're never going to get out of the first round. So again, that whole thing with no free agents wanting to go to Carolina and play with this team who is mediocre at best, they're going to have to build through the draft, and that's really hard, and that takes a long time. And eventually, your good players like Ted McMillan, or if you want to pay Bryce Young, you're going to have to start paying these guys, which is going to hurt the rest of the team.
I agree. And let me ask you a quick question, 30 seconds. If you are a general manager and you hit it right on the head with the nobody wants to come here. So you kind of look at Carolina and Arizona as kind of the same type of team. Not only are they organization, I'd say maybe Carolina's run a little bit better, but it's still a place where really nobody wants to go.
No.
And as you mentioned, Dave Canales, potentially, maybe in the next year or two not having a job. If you're a general manager, do you look and be like, you know what? Yeah, I'll probably end up having to fire my head coach. Yeah, I'll probably end up having to draft another quarterback. But we are always going to be mediocre just because A, nobody wants to come here, and B, if we do get any good players in the draft or whatever and build it that way, they're going to end up leaving. So do you have to have that self-aware moment, or do you have to say the same thing that you do for the cameras, that we're always in it, we're always going to compete, we're always going to blah blah blah? Like when you're down 25 points with 2 minutes left in the game and you're still fouling, thinking that you got a chance to come back.
Yeah, they're going to have to put on a show and pretend that everything is hunky-dory. It's all good. You know, we got this thing. We're figuring stuff out in the locker room. And I like the way our guys are responding. Yeah. Our guys are responding really well. You can see it out there on the practice field every day. They're going full go. Give me a
I love it. Oh, I love it. You are absolute. Every cliche in the book. Oh man, I love it. I absolutely love it.
That's all you're gonna hear, man.
That's it. And last but not least, a team that we thought was on the rise had a couple of misfortunes as the season went on. Their quarterback got injured, but he ended up getting $44 million a season for the next 2 years. And that would be the Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones-led Indianapolis Colts, who, by the way, lost a couple of really good players over the course of this past offseason. What do you see in the next 2 to 3 years for the Colts?
What do I see for the Colts? Hitting the reset button, man, to be totally honest with you.
Really?
Do I know that Daniel Jones is going to work out? No, I don't know that Daniel Jones is going to work out and be their quarterback of the future. I feel like they'll keep guys like Tyler Warren, and they just paid Alec Pierce a whole bunch of money. Mm-hmm. But Jonathan Taylor is in his last year of his contract with the Colts, and he is their best player. So if he doesn't stay, that's a problem. And he's going to want big money. Are the Colts going to be willing to dish it out after they gave Danny freaking $88 million, a whole bunch of freaking money and all that stuff? So I don't know where they stand on that, or if they want to go back to the draft and try to find another diamond in the rough. But I doubt Indy will give him what he wants. So I think that Taylor probably ends up moving on. And the defense is shaky to begin with. They got holes here. They got holes there. They're not a real solid offense, except for when Taylor is doing this thing. So I really see them cleaning house over the next 2 to 3 years and starting over with the small core guys they have now and trying to build from the inside out. So I truthfully don't see a bright future for the Colts.
Well, and I think what makes things even worse for the Colts is that they don't have a first-round pick this year. They still are like $26 million under the cap via free agency. But if they're looking to do anything impactful, it would have to be like in the second round, where I don't think they picked until like 47th, 48th, something like that overall.
Oh, so, wow.
I kind of agree with your assessment. You give Danny Dimes all the money. You give Alec Pierce all that money. You hope that, Tyler Warren can continue to progress. Jonathan Taylor, like you said, sooner or later, he's got to be, right? He's got to be on the downside sooner or later. And, But the fact that you said that it might be time for them to hit the reset button, that was a little bit shocking. But like I say, no first round pick. You don't pick until like 47, 48. You're not going to get really, well, depending on how it works, you're not going to get any impactful players there.
Prime, do you really think that Daniel Jones is going to be the starting quarterback of a Super Bowl team? Yes, okay, we said that about Sam Darnold 2 years ago. I totally get it, but I think we've seen enough of Daniel Jones to understand that he's not going to do that.
No, and I don't think there's not enough around him. And you said it, defensively. At least with Sam Darnold had a hell of a defense behind him.
Exactly.
Drake May had a hell of a defense. Bo Nix had a hell of a defense. So all these young guns have, really good defenses. But you said it right on the head. The Colts defense, not that great. They played really well earlier in the season. But as the season went on, they kind of tailed off, middle of the pack, below the middle of the pack. So, but that was I was kind of, you said actually hit the reset button, but you're right though. I don't see them winning a Super Bowl or even getting the Super Bowl with Daniel Jones as your quarterback. So,
I really don't, man. That'd be a great story. It'd be unbelievable. Another resurrection project in the NFL, a quarterback. That'd be great. But hey, I don't think we're going to see it, man. I don't think so.
Well, that was Crystal Ball, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by the Power 32 podcast. And great stuff as always, man. You can take off the turban. You can put it away till next week. We'll have 5 more teams. As you look into your crystal ball, we'll have 5 more teams for everybody out there to see what we see or what you see for them over the next 2-3 years.
And I will be looking forward to it. And I know that we have teased the head coaching segment, the first year expectations for guys like Harbaugh and Minter, McCarthy going to Pittsburgh, Kevin Stefanski now going from Atlanta with his 2 Coaching of the Year awards, Salah, Hafley, Brady, Monken, Kubiak, LaFleur. We got all these guys to talk about. We have more time next week because we have done our draft segment. We did the quarterbacks, the running backs, and the wide receivers. So we're good with that. But Prime, what we got going on, especially going up until April 24th or whenever the draft is. I don't even know what date. Mock Draft City, man. We got to go crazy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been chomping at the bit for the last couple weeks. Got mock draft 1.5. I'm up to 1.5 now. Not quite 2.0. So like 1.5 I'm there. But yeah. And there's, for a lot of people out there that may not be familiar with college football, first of all, as Prophet says about you, if you don't have any friends, make some. If you're not a big fan of college football, you need to go out there and start watching college football, because then when we start talking about some of these guys, you'll have a little bit more familiarity and you'll know what we're talking about. That way you'll have a more solid leg to stand on when you tell us whether or not we're right or wrong. So
there you go.
As that time approaches, but yeah, I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Looking forward to the draft. Looking forward to mock drafts. Who's going to go where? What does your favorite team need, ladies and gentlemen? Feel free to drop that in the chat as well, as always. So
yeah, indeed. Definitely. No doubt. And again, we appreciate you guys listening. McNine are always chiming in. We appreciate it. Those who will be listening later, we appreciate you guys. Power 32 here to stay. We keep it going in the off season all strong long, baby. That's how we do it. So we're going to keep having fun. We got mock drafts coming, man. So it's going to be great. I can't wait to hear what you got, what I got, going back and forth. We're going to have our point system this year. We're going to have a little competition. You hit the draft pick right on the head, you get a certain amount of points. You get the position right, you get a certain amount of points. So we'll go over that. We'll have a little fun with that. It'll be a nice little competition come the end of April when the NFL draft comes along.
Absolutely, man. Can't wait. So for the Mr. We thank each and every one of you for joining us. Like, follow, subscribe. If you don't have a friend, make a friend, tell a friend about the Power 32 podcast. We are live each and every Tuesday night here on YouTube. You can follow us on social media as well. And like I say, just, keep the hour of power is upon you every Tuesday night. So just make sure you tell a friend and join us here each and every week. We read the chat. We interact with the chat. So you're actually a part of the show, and we wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you guys.
No doubt. Like, subscribe. If you like what you hear, if you like what you see, subscribe, hit that button. Again, tell your friends, go make friends, go to church, whatever you got to do. But yeah, listen to Power 32. Have a good time. Your life will be better. No doubt about it. Prime, great show as always. Had a blast. We'll do it again next week, my brother.
Yes, sir. Had a blast as always, my man.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you all. Peace.